Hi, my name is David Kong.
And I'm Desmond Delaghetto.
Welcome to this new episode of the Dream Council podcast. Today we're going to be talking about UFGT, ECT results, as well as this past weekend at MLG.
Coming up next on Drive Council Radio, Episode 9, the official podcast for DreamCouncil.com. Alright, cool. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. I'm Desmond Delaghetto, and today we'll be going over some site news, UFGT8, East Coast Throwdown, and MLG KOF 13 tournament that transpired this past weekend. And first, we're going to go over some news with the site. So I know a lot of people have just found out that the Wibia 2-bar chat is unfortunately gone. I think there's been some sort of transitioning with Wibia with their site and services, so it had to go. I think.
Yeah, man, I missed that chat, dude. That chat was fun.
Yeah, it was great. You know, at first I didn't like it because it was only open to Facebook and Twitter users. But I mean, it was a cool way to chat and view the site at the same time. So maybe in the upcoming weeks or so, we'll try to experiment with some more different kind of chats for people can chat and view the forums and the site at the same time. But we do have the tiny chat as a navigation link at the top, for people to check out, that we've been using for the online tournaments. And speaking of online tournaments, there is one on the 16th of this month, which is June, and it starts at 3 p.m. Central Time for you lag leeches and online warriors, to go ahead and play. And I'll be there as well. And what else has been going on? Also, Bio Booster and Solid Shark, which are two American KOF players living in Japan, they did a kind of a spin-off of this podcast, which is called Drive Council Radio Japan, and they had, I think, 2 or 3 episodes on eLive. But because eLive is transitioning into something else, which I'm not sure, they'll complete the period of transition. Those episodes, I don't even think you can check them out anymore, unfortunately. But hopefully, when it comes back online, they'll do some more. And,
yeah, man. Hopefully those guys will do a lot more, because I've heard a lot of crazy stuff about Japanese players, and I'd really love to get word of mouth from people who are actually there. That'd be really valuable for the rest of the community.
Yeah, and they've been doing some translation work as well, as far as getting players' names and knowing exactly what some of the announcers and commentary that's going on in the matches are saying. So it's pretty helpful, and I'm glad that they're doing that. Just showing us a nice amount of what's going on in the scene over there in Japan, and how they're receiving KOF 13 Climax. And I think that's about it for the site news. So
cool. Let's go right on into all this belated tournament news, which we haven't been covering. Let's start off with UFGT8, which was an amazing tournament. Both of us were there, Desmond. It was finally great to meet you in person, and the rest of the players from Minnesota. That was really awesome.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun, dude. Yeah, it was great meeting you as well, and I had a lot of fun. Even though that to be honest, I didn't really do very well in the tournament. It was great, just meeting and seeing old faces, new faces, just playing a nice amount of casuals, checking out the final matches. I think the highlight for the weekend was actually playing in Romance's room with Mario E.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Oh my god, this dude Mario, aka El Nino, is probably the funniest guy I have ever met, man. And just to give the listeners a little bit of background, this guy was born and raised in Mexico, learned how to play KOF there. He was the guy that was playing on the PDP Mortal Kombat stick.
Mm-hmm.
and with the actual Mortal Kombat layout. And he was explaining to us the reason he plays like that is because, in his local arcade in Mexico, they had this bootleg, Mortal Kombat cab that had KOF on it. So everyone just had to play KOF on this Mortal Kombat layout. So I thought that was really cool. And, even though he obviously has been playing KOF for like a really long time, he was actually very new to the fighting game scene. Like, he didn't know who Alex Valle was. He didn't know who Justin Wong was. So at one point, I think in the hotel room, and this is the PG version of it, but he was basically saying something like, "Man, who is this guy Justin Wong? Like, why is he such a big deal or whatever? Like, screw that guy. Like, I don't care about Justin Wong." I just thought that was like the most hilarious thing, man. But he ended up getting fourth place, and he did really, really well. I played a lot of casuals against him. He totally blew me up, and he wasn't even doing like optimal combos or anything, man. Like, his fundamentals were just that strong.
Yeah, he wasn't, dude. He was playing so like basic and just like solid, and he wasn't doing any like big HD combos or anything like that. He was just using good spacing, good pokes, good pressure, and it wasn't even that heavy. He was just like, I don't know, it was just the way he played was just so like solid and calm almost that it just worked for him very well,
Yeah, man. One thing, Juicebox was also out there playing casuals with us, and he made a comment that I felt that was very accurate in describing Mario. Like, when you see him doing combos on his stick, he just had so much finesse, like when for new school players like myself, like whenever we land an HD combo, like a big HD combo to match, we're just like so tense about it, like oh my god, I can't drop this, like hitting these buttons so hard, But he was just like blop 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 blop, yeah, whatever, here's my combo, Like he seems so at home on an arcade stick. It looks like he's been playing on that stick for like a decade or all his life, So that was really cool to see. And what else happened in UFGT? Let's see here. I got blown up, and I want to tell this story. Shout outs to Team IFD. I think I'm an honorary member now. For those of you who don't know, in the Midwest, they have a group called IFD, which stands for I'm effing drunk. And basically, we were out there Friday night. I had 10 a.m. pulls on Saturday. This was a really poor decision on my part, but there was like a bar inside the venue. So, we were just partying and stuff, hanging out with Zerp and Banana Ken. Shout outs to those guys and Nerd Josh. And then later on, the IFD guys, the Illinois guys, were like, "Hey, man, you guys came all the way from SoCal. You guys got to come hang around and, like play some games." So me and Romance went up there. They had all this alcohol, so we were just having too good of a time, man. Like, before you knew it, it was like 3 a.m, and I was like, "Oh crap, I got pools at 10 a.m."
Oh.
So I wasn't exactly in the greatest, state of health in the morning when I was playing. But I'm not making excuses. I got blown up fair and square. Shout outs to Flocker for blowing me up. But yeah, man, overall, absolutely amazing tournament for anybody who's out there in the Midwest. Shout outs to all you guys. Met a lot of them who, a lot of players out there who really, really are hungry for the game, but didn't necessarily have like a huge scene to play with. So it was just really awesome getting to meet everyone, sharing technology and stuff like that. Oh, shout outs to Sparkster too. Sparkster was there killing it the whole weekend as well.
Yeah, man, he's a good dude, man. He knows a lot about the game. He makes me realize certain things about my own play and the game itself that makes me say, dang, like he's right. He's absolutely correct. So I'm glad he's in the community and sharing his info, and he did very well. What did you think about Justin Wong? Him playing Justin Wong and Justin Wong getting second place.
Wong factor, man. That's all you can say, right? Like, Justin does not practice KOF. He has King as his anchor, which is a horrible decision, right? Like, strategically, on paper, in practice, you do not want to have King as your anchor. Right. But he made it work. And honestly, I think what he did very well the whole weekend was like jump CD and super jump CD with Athena. And basically it's just, yeah, he played really annoying, he played really safe. And even though a guy like Sparkster or a guy like Mario, I think honestly should have been able to beat him convincingly, like he still managed to clutch it out just because he is Justin Wong. Has all this tournament experience, he knows what he's doing. To some degree, right? At least in terms of fundamentals. So, I can't take away anything from his victory. He did very well, and he got second place. So yeah, good stuff to him, and hopefully, really, it's our fault as KOF players, right? Like, it's our fault for not being good enough to beat him. So that's just something that we all have to work on.
Well, I don't know, man. I think people don't really give him a lot of credit, for his KOF, experience, because he did play at Chinatown Fair, and even though that is a different, it's a different game. They were playing mostly like 2002, but I mean, I do think he probably reached back into his mind of his memory banks, and from those times at Chinatown Fair to use the fundamentals from playing people there and from other games to do well, because he wasn't doing any kind of like crazy combos at all. I think he only did like one like King HD combo, but he was just like using just like such a basic like play style that it was just like killing folks with it.
But man, and again, I don't want to take away anything from Justin's win. I give him all the credit that that I think he should get. He's an excellent player. Obviously, he's like the Michael Jordan of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Like, nobody's going to take that away from him. He's one of the greatest players of all time in general.
Yeah.
But in terms of KOF 13 specifically, like, it's obvious. It's completely obvious when you watch videos that he doesn't practice the game, right? And when you go back and you watch the footage of him versus Sparkster, it's like, it's we can't really say anything about it. Sparkster just didn't do everything that he could have to beat him. Like, I remember one round in particular. It was like Shenwu versus Athena, and Athena was just jumping all over the place. And I was just thinking, God, like, Sparkster, just do EX Bionic Arm just once, man. Like, you can easily react to this stuff, and it just never happened. Now, I'm not trying to put Sparkster on blast, obviously, because Sparkster's a great player. He was beating me a lot, mad respect to him. But I just think that, like, this whole Justin Wong factor, right? There's some substance behind it. Like, when you get into high-level tournament play and you're playing against this dude, and you're thinking to yourself, whatever, right? Like, who knows what people are thinking? You just, you don't play your best, and I think Justin does a great job of taking advantage of that. So
you think
anyway,
people get nervous when they play Justin Wong, no matter what game it is? They just say, okay, it's Justin Wong. This dude's like one of the best fighting game players on the planet. If I get beaten by this dude in this game that he hardly plays or doesn't resort, to amount of hours in, that I can be labeled as fraudulent. Do you think that?
I mean, maybe, like, that's probably one aspect of it, but I think there's, it could be a number of things. It could just be stuff that, as soon as you even start thinking about that in a tournament setting, whether you're thinking about losing or winning, you might be thinking like, oh man, Justin Wong doesn't practice this game, I'm going to beat him so bad. Right? Like, as soon as you think either way, as soon as you start to doubt yourself or you get too cocky, like, you don't play your best.
Oh, okay.
So, like, that's not just Justin, but any top player, right? Any player with a name. I think that when you go up against them in a tournament, it's very easy to overthink the situation and just not do well.
Yeah.
But, who knows, man? In the end, Justin's a great player. He doesn't know everything about KOF 13 yet, and he's not doing the best combos. But, he's still doing really well. In fact, let's move on from UFGT, and let's talk about East Coast Throwdown, because this is also kind of relevant. Top 8 for East Coast Throwdown, which just happened this Sunday. Starting from the bottom, this is actually a really great top 8. I managed to catch only the top 3, but all 8 of them are known KOF players from the East Coast or the West Coast. So 7th place, we start with Marco Polo and D-Rez. Both of them are really good. Then tied for 5th, we have Executioner and Flocker. And of course, Flocker also got top 8 at UFGT, so Flocker has a good number of Evo points for KOF now. In 4th place, guess who? Mr. Justin Wong.
Oh.
Running his same team of Mr. Karate, Athena, King, in that order. Again.
Did you check out any of his matches from that stream, or did you just see the last bit?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to see his matches, but I definitely will check them out, because this is really interesting now. Because Justin, like we've just been talking about, he's obviously a good player, and to get 4th place in this top 8, he means that he had to beat at least a couple of these guys these dedicated KOF players on the East Coast. So, like, but funny enough, on Twitter I did see Justin say that, and this is almost a verbatim quote. He says, "I need to learn more than one HD combo in KOF 13." So I mean, props to him. Like, he's good. Third place was Combo Fiend, and actually I was playing casuals with Combo Fiend about a week ago, and he was saying, "Oh man, like I'm gonna go out to this ECT tournament and hopefully I'm gonna win," because like he was saying like he didn't respect a lot of the East Coast KOF players or whatever. But well, I'm not sure if he really meant it like that, but he was confident going in. That much I can say. And he ended up getting third place, running Ralph Takuma Vice, Maxima Takuma Vice, combination of those characters there. Second and first place. Second place, we had Rai Rai. I was really surprised Rai Rai didn't take it because I think he has a reputation of being the strongest on the East Coast, but he beat Combo Fiend convincingly in losers bracket or losers finals. And then first place, we had Zidane running Mr. Karate, Hua Jai, and Kim. Very, very good team. And Zidane also defeated Rai Rai in grand finals 3-0 to take it very convincingly. So some really excellent play there from the East Coast. I thought it was a really cool tournament. So yeah, shout outs to everyone who was at ECT. But let's get to the biggest news.
Oh yes.
That I'm sure everyone in the community is buzzing about right now. MLG was this past weekend, and oh my goodness, what a tournament it was.
Yeah, it was quite a show, man. I'm gonna be honest. Like at first, I wasn't too sure how it was gonna turn out because of the the turnout or whatever. But it was very, very entertaining and educational as well.
Yeah, man, it was incredible, and I just have to put myself on blast for a little bit because I have been a very big hater when it comes to MLG in general. Like I disagree with their philosophy towards gaming competitions and doing it as a business, and it's just night and day from what we're used to in the fighting game community. Like the attitude that they bring to the table when they're throwing a game tournament. Right. Is that it's for them, it's all about sponsors, it's all about promotion, it's all about money, right? Whereas in the fighting game community, I mean, it's getting more and more like that because more money is getting involved, but it's still like fundamentally it's a grassroots kind of a thing that we're used to, and it's about people coming together and being a community and all that.
Right. So
going into MLG, I was thinking like, man, this is going to be like so not like good at all. Like these guys have no idea what they're doing. Now granted, I mean like I know they have community members working with them like Arturo and The Answer and Juicebox, but honestly I was pretty skeptical at going in thinking like how MLG would actually take their advice and if they actually would listen to them, and because you hear about these things like the continuation rule.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, that doesn't make any sense. But like, I really do have to apologize, I guess, because after this weekend, I mean, I'm a believer, man. Like that tournament was amazing. Like everything that was done the way that it was run, the way that it was presented was excellent. The players were excellent. And even like a week beforehand, we were thinking like, oh man, there's only gonna be like 20 entrants, and there ended up being some last minute entrants. 30 people ended up going, and yeah, it ended up being really great. My bad, Desmond. Do you mind if you take like just a little break? Like Mr. KOF's calling me right now.
Oh really? Oh okay. Yeah, for sure.
Sorry about that, everybody. But yeah, as we were saying, this weekend, yeah, MLG man was just so good. Like, just because a few days beforehand they announced Tokido was coming, they announced Luis Cha was coming. I mean,
yeah, I
was so hyped.
I was really excited for Luis Cha because I've been like a fan of his ever since a couple years ago. He used to rock in KOF 02. He was a pretty good melee player, and to know that he's been picking up 13, I was very excited, and I wanted to see how well he will play, and I think he did pretty good.
Yeah, man. I mean, like it's oh god. I mean, going into it, it was just so kind of everyone had such high anticipations because this guy is like a legend in
Mm-hmm.
KOF, right? Like he's one of the best 2002 players ever. He's one
Mm-hmm.
of the best players in Mexico across multiple KOF games, and he just proved that he is also one of the best in 13 by winning Hype Mania to qualify. Um, and then he comes over here, and like we don't know how good he is, right? Like, I mean, obviously we've seen his videos. It's just among the SoCal players, like we were all kind of like, I wonder how good he actually is. Like, I wonder how we'll stack up against him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up getting taken out though by Romance and losers bracket. So he still got top eight, very respectable showing. But I think part of it is that 13 is as much as it does share fundamentals with older KOFs, it is still very much its own game,
Yeah.
right? And there's a lot of game specific stuff you have to know, you have to practice to be able to compete at the highest level.
Yeah.
And there were a couple times in the tournament where we saw Luis Cha kind of drop the ball. Like for instance, on a huge punish situation, a couple times with K-Dash, he was just doing a bread and butter. Like he didn't have the confidence or the reaction to go into the full HD, right?
Yeah.
To kill the character. So stuff like that, it's just unacceptable at the highest level. But it's just that stuff obviously comes with experience, and I'm sure that by Evo, Luis Cha is going to be much much stronger than he is now. And also, I think it's important to mention that he's used to playing on an American Moss stick with
Yeah.
American buttons, and he didn't have that available to him this weekend. He had to play on a Japanese stick with Sanwa buttons and a Sanwa stick. So, who knows if that made a big difference. His execution still looked fairly clean.
It did.
Yeah, so I mean, we don't. Yeah, it's hard to say how much of a difference that actually made. But
Yeah, I know, man. I mean, I think a lot of players can probably relate a bit. If you're used to a certain style of arcade stick, and you've been grinding out, on this stick that you're used to, and then you have to play with something else. Then of course you may feel a little, underconfident about doing certain combos that you may even still have a little trouble doing on the stick that you're primarily used to. So I don't know. I mean, not to make excuses for him, but like maybe that played a small bit of a role in that. But I mean, it looked like he was faring pretty well as is.
yeah, definitely, man. And yeah, so shout outs to Luis Cha, shout outs to all of Mexico. I'm sure we'll see a lot of you guys at Evo. It's going to be so exciting. Moving on, I also want to talk a little bit about my good friend, Mr. Trophy Club, IGL Trophy Club. Teammates, technically speaking, with Bala and The Answer, also sponsored by IGL. And him and Prinny and Random Llama came out from Las Vegas to play in MLG. Trophy Club did the best. He ended up beating Chris KOF in winners bracket, and I was very, very impressed by that. So shout out to Trophy Club real quick. Of course, Chris KOF came back to make top 8 through losers. He did very, very well, and ended up losing to one of the most talked about players of the weekend, Tokido the Murderface.
Yes.
Did you get a chance to see those matches, Desmond?
Yes, those matches was great, man. I was just rooting so hard for Chris, man. And then when I think it was the was it the fourth match, the third or the fourth match where he got OCV'd by Tokido. I was like, oh man, I hope he regroups, and then Tokido just ends up bringing it back, and I was like, man, I was so like disappointed, but I mean Tokido is just a good player, and he just he adapted so well to Chris's style, and just brought it back, and it just goes to show you just how much of a beast Tokido is with his murder face of death.
Yeah, man. Dude, like his adaptation is so good. I mean, I just cannot believe how collected, how focused he was in those matches. Because the first two matches where Chris KOF won, they were fairly decisive looking,
Yeah.
And man, like the fact that Tokido can just perform like that, and obviously he's a legend. He's considered one of the original Japanese like 5 gods or whatever of fighting games.
Yeah.
And he's placed top 8 in multiple games, at Evo, and like for him to come here and play KOF 13 this well against some of our best players, I mean, I just have so much respect for that guy after this weekend. It's insane.
Yeah.
He's so good. But beyond that, gosh, I mean, one of the most talked about matches of Friday, I think, was also Tokido against Romance.
Yes, man, that was so hyped, dude. I was just sitting there watching, man. I was like so like hyped and pumped up. You know, I really wanted Romance to win, dude. You know.
Yeah, man.
And
it was oh god, it was so emotional for me watching. And unfortunately, I wasn't there in person at MLG because of work and things like that. I was just watching on the stream as well. But, you know, Romance is a friend of mine, and, you know, we play fairly often, and, like, God, when I saw him play against Tokido, I was just like, please just body this dude, you know, like, just hold it down for SoCal, like, send a message, like, to Japan, like, we're the best, you know? And he went up 2-1, and I was like, okay, this is it, and then that last match was so close, and all the matches were great, you know, every single match was great, but that last match, it comes down to Claw Iori versus Benimaru. Both characters have maybe about 15 to 20% health left.
Yeah.
And, you know, Romance had 2 bars. He went for an EX Lightning when Tokido was in the corner. He blocked it. He backdashes like full screen. And the worst part is, you know, man, like, I've seen him do this at the run back before, too. He actually lost a match. I forget if it was to Reynold or Bala during the run back one week. But the exact same thing happened. Like, EX Lightning is, you know, you do quarter circle back punch, or 2 punches, right?
Yeah.
And so he's buffering it, looking for a button. So he's doing like quarter circle back, just waiting for that button, right? Or a jump or something. And if he just buffered it a little bit too fast. So he got double quarter circle back, punch. He got the level 1 super. Tokido runs up at him and just gets the punish for the kill and for the entire match. And I was just like, I was so angry, dude. I was playing, you know, with one of my friends here at my apartment, you know, watching the stream, and I almost just like threw my stick, like just, you know, through the window, man. I was just so angry.
Yeah, dude. I was very like, I was going nuts as well, dude. I just like screamed so loud in my apartment, man, when that happened. And just to see Tokido just run up and punish him, dude, while he was recovering from that super. Oh, dude, that's like, oh, man, that was just some like heartbreaking shit, dude, you know?
Yeah, man. It was, oh, God, it was so emotional for me, man. Like, God.
And then Tokido, like, it seemed like he knew that it was a mistake, too. You know, you remember, like, you know, after the match was over, you know, he got up and, you know, he was like signaling, like, you know, looked like he was trying to do the EX Lightning, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's crazy, dude. That just goes to show you just how like intensive, you know, fighting games are, you know, especially KOF. You know, your execution just has to be on point, and it can just like just work against you, man, at the wrong moment and just cost you the match, you know? Exactly,
man. That's exactly what happened. But you know, going off of that, I think by far, you know, everyone is agreeing that the MVP was the weekend of the weekend, even though he didn't win the whole thing, is Romance.
Yeah.
Because the next day, he, you know, gets in there, he runs it back against Tokido, and because of this stupid continuation rule, he's down, you know, 2-3, which means he has to win 4 games to beat Tokido, and Tokido has to win 3. But, I mean, winning 4 games against a top level, and in KOF especially, like, that's not easy to do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, if I was in Romance's position, I would be so frustrated just going into that situation. You know, like, dude, I have to beat this guy 4 times to advance? Like, what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, it was like a Rocky Balboa kind of a comeback, man.
Yeah.
Like, this Romance runs it back against Tokido 4-0 to take the game. And it was just... It was incredible, man. After I saw that.
With some very good Yuri play as well, man. His Yuri was on fire, dude.
Yeah, man. His Yuri is really on another level. I've been saying it for a while. You know, his Yuri is the best I've ever seen, the best I've ever played against. He just knows the character inside and out. He does the smartest things. He plays really safe. His mix-ups are on point, and especially with that dive kick, man.
Oh, yeah.
When he does that instant dive kick and you're thinking like he's setting up a cross-up, but he doesn't cross up, and oh my god. So good. And his use of stand CD. Like, Yuri's stand CD's hitbox is like just... I mean, I don't know how many frames is active for. It looks like a good like 10 to 15 frames though, it's just like she slaps the air and that hitbox just stays there, man.
Yeah, dude, that's something that I found out after all from watching him, man. It's like, yo, it can anti-air a little bit. I mean, it may trade, but if it does, then yeah, you can cancel it into the demon flip into, a throw or whatever. So, yeah, that's a very good move by by Yuri, dude,
Yeah, man. And then directly after he beats Tokido, he has to go against Mr. KOF. And just to give people, the listeners, some background, I mean, Mr. KOF is one of the best players in SoCal. Like, these guys play against each other on a weekly basis at the run back, and Mr. KOF honestly beats Romance more often than Romance beats him. But Romance somehow is just, he was on fire, man. Like, he beat Mr. KOF 3-0. And I thought that was also extremely impressive. But then, of course, he goes up against Reynolds and Bala, and honestly, out of any other players, out of all the players in SoCal, like Reynolds and Bala are two of the most consistent, two of the just like most beastly players, man. Like Reynolds was on fire the whole weekend as well, and that's another reason why I just enjoyed MLG so much, is that I see these guys play on a fairly regular basis, but they just really turned it up a notch for MLG, man. Like they were all doing things that I've never seen them do before. Like the level of play was higher than I've ever seen it, like ever, man. Like I remember there was one particular round where Reynolds, as a punish, I believe, activated HD off of Kim's far stand B. Like the guy just did it, like the max range stand B HD confirmed into full combo, and I was just blown away by that. So grand finals was between Bala and Reynolds, and obviously the continuation rule also applied, which funny enough actually doesn't make any difference at all from a regular fighting game tournament, because Bala was up 3-0, Reynolds had to win 6 games to take the whole tournament. Bala only had to take 3. That would actually be the exact same scenario as if they were playing in a regular fighting game tournament.
Yeah, almost kind of like a reset. If Reynolds were to get 3 or whatever, it'll be basically just like that. In grand finals, you reset. It'll be 3-3, but technically in a double elimination, it'll be 0-0. So
yeah,
it made sense. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly, yeah, and Bala still had a little bit of an advantage just because, like, let's say Reynolds did win 3 and Bala won 1, that wouldn't reset the 1 win. He would still only have 2 more.
Yeah, that's true.
But in either case, Reynolds ended up taking 2 games before Bala took 3, and that was also very great grand finals. But Bala did take that fairly convincingly, and surprisingly enough, man, like, because I know Reynolds, and Bala and. Like, in the past, like, they haven't... I know that Reynolds is not happy losing to Bala at all. He's never happy losing to Bala. But, like, when the tournament was over, like, Reynolds got up, Bala got up. They both had big smiles on their faces. They were shaking each other's hands. I could definitely see a lot of respect being given both ways. So, that was just great to see. And then afterwards, at awards ceremony, or, all of SoCal was just on stage and just, like... I was in such a great time. I mean, it just looks so cool, man. And so, I mean, yeah, shout outs to MLG, for putting on such an amazing event for KOF and for the entire KOF community to enjoy. Yeah. A couple of the complaints I do have are like, why are you going to run 10 minutes of commercials between every match, man? Like, that was really super annoying.
Yeah, I didn't really like it myself. I mean, even though, like, the matches were 3 out of 5, which gave, a good amount of gameplay. But, yeah, it did give it a lot of, like, just wait time in between, Like, I mean, yeah, I got up a few times and, got a snack or used the bathroom, but it was just so much, I think it was probably just because of the turnout or whatever, but, yeah, I agree with you. Those commercials did, kind of leave a lengthy mark,
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually also another really important point I want to bring up, because the general consensus is that MLG is going to drop KOF after this event, because MLG is concerned about running a business and they want lots and lots of entrants for their tournaments. And, they're not going to put big money on the line for a tournament that only gets 30 entrants. They had a bracket of 128, and if you take a look at that bracket, everybody had a buy. Some people had two buys. So it's understandable from a business perspective that they would drop KOF after this. But when you look at the KOF community, at least in California, a lot of people didn't show up, and a lot of people are asking, why didn't people show up for this? It's such a big tournament, so much money on the line. First off, KOF, even within the fighting game community, is not one of the main games yet. We are still growing, and relatively speaking, there's a smaller number of people who play. At any kind of community major, we only get about 70 entrants, 70 to 80 entrants. I mean, obviously, final round is the one glaring exception of that. But it's like if MLG is running a game expecting to get hundreds of entrants, like KOF is not the game to have. Even though everyone kind of agrees that it's such an amazing fighting game, it's probably one of the best fighting games out right now, or one of the best fighting games that has come out in a really long time, and one of the most competitive. If you're looking for high numbers of entrants, right now the community just isn't there. And also, the kind of guys that are in the community right now aren't necessarily the kind of guys that play StarCraft or League of Legends, Like, those guys are interested in being professional gamers. They're interested in spending lots and lots of time playing the game on a daily basis so that they can win huge money. When it comes down to KOF, a lot of us have day jobs. A lot of us are broke, we can't afford $50. I mean, I'm not saying for myself, but for the community in general, like $50 to enter the tournament, and then obviously it's known that there are these players that are so good, like Bala and Reynold and everybody else who placed very well. Realistically speaking, not a lot of us are going to be entering this tournament trying to get that prize money, right? Top 4 is going to get paid out, but realistically speaking, a lot of people don't think they're going to be able to get that money. So that motivation is gone. People were saying, oh, MLG has such a huge prize pot, why are more people entering? Well, realistically speaking, we're not going to be winning that money, so the prize pot doesn't really factor in. And in addition to that, nobody from NorCal showed up. I'm also guessing because of travel costs and whatnot. But overall, man, it can't really be helped. And I'm sad to say it because it was an amazing event. And any kind of reservations I had about MLG beforehand have kind of been taken away just to see how great of a tournament they can actually put on. And I really wish that they would continue to have it in the future. And in the future, I would definitely try my best to be there. But yeah, as it is right now, it is just kind of unfortunate. It is what it is. And regardless, man, it was hype as hell. And, CEO is going to be super hype for KOF. Evo is going to be super, the hypest thing ever, in the history of KOF. And, we got a lot to look forward to. And I guess we just got to take it for what it is, shout outs to MLG, shout outs to everyone who was there.
Yeah. And speaking of Evo, Daku and Zalhai will be planning on attending there, right?
Yeah, man, that was a big announcement that just came out. Both of those guys are coming out to Evo, so that's going to be super sick. I think right now everyone is just kind of anticipating the matchup between, Bala and SoCal versus Daku and Shanghai. What do you think is going to happen, Desmond? Based on what we have seen from Tokido this weekend, let's keep in mind that Tokido beat Daku, right?
Yeah.
And Tokido barely lost to Shanghai.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen?
Man, I don't know, dude. This is one of the only times where I kind of feel that I don't know what's going to happen, dude. I think people are going to have a very, very entertaining and educational match from what may transpire up at Evo. So I don't know. I think there might be some kind of triangle or square going as far as matchups between players. Maybe one might beat the other one may have trouble with another one or something like that, and maybe that might factor out the winner or at least the top 3. So yeah, I really don't know, man. I want USA to win, like I expressed before in the past episode, but I do want Daku and Zalhai to bring their A game and just show us what they know, and just give us a very good fight, because the game is, I feel that it's time for USA to shine. So
Yeah, man.
let's see what happens, man. Like I said before, I really don't know, man, but I think it's gonna be, quite of entertaining fight.
Yeah, totally, dude. And of course, there's going to be tons of sleepers there too. Like, we have a Chilean player is actually in SoCal right now for the month training for Evo,
Okay.
and it goes by the name of Kane Blue River.
Okay. I think I've seen that name a few times on some forums and stuff.
Yeah, he's I think he's been on some Chilean streams and stuff like that. But he's really good. He came over here and he's really good, and he was warning us basically that 3 other Chilean players are coming for Evo, and he says that they're much better than he is.
Okay.
So there's gonna be those guys. There's gonna be guys coming from France. I know, like FreeNL and Fox. Hopefully, I don't know if he's gonna be able to make it, but the French are definitely gonna be in attendance.
Okay.
And excuse me, the English. I know Gunsmith and Christina are coming.
Oh, okay, that's right. Almost forgot about them. Almost, man. Yeah. Okay, that would be cool to see.
Yeah, and the Japanese. I mean, I hope, I haven't heard anything for sure, but I definitely hope Dune, because Dune is sponsored by eLive. I hope he can make it. I hope the other Japanese top players can make it, like Haragoro and those guys. But yeah, man, like we're gonna see. At the very least, I think we can be guaranteed to see the most amazing top 16 that we've ever seen. Like it's gonna be incredible, and I'm just so stoked for it. Before that, CEO is next weekend. I'll be heading out there with Romance. I think The Answer and Bala are also trying to make it. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed for sure yet, but as of right now, definitely myself and Romance will be at CEO. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to, playing in the tournament and then partying after I get knocked out, because the way that Bailey is, advertising it just makes it sound like a super fun time in Florida. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And Desmond, are you going to be at Evo by any chance?
Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to make it because of financial reasons. My heart and my mind says go, but my bank account says no. So I don't think I'll be able to afford it. I would love to go. Man. That'll be like such a great party, because I've never been to Evo before, man. And,
dude.
And also, I think, like, what's up with the whole like registration thing? Are they like capping like new registrants?
They sold out, man. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Evo sold out.
Like, I never heard that before, dude.
Exactly, dude. Like Caesar's Palace, by the way, I was at Evo 2 years ago, and it was in the same venue, Caesar's Palace. And the ballroom, I mean, it's like 50,000 square feet or something. And even on finals day, it was like completely packed to the brim, just with people watching top 8. And yeah, man, the idea that they're gonna pack it all up to capacity this year, and it's nuts, dude. Like we need a bigger venue.
Yeah, I heard that they're switching to a smaller one, and that's why they stopped the new registrants.
Yeah, that, man, I hope that's not the case.
Yeah,
it was pretty crowded already in there. But dude, man, Desmond, like, and to anybody who's listening, like, if you have the means of going to Evo, like, you have to go to Evo. Like, put it on your bucket list. It's like, you know how, like, I mean, I'm not Muslim, but I know that in the religion of Islam. No, hear me out here. I know that in the Islamic religion, everybody's supposed to take at least one trip to Mecca, right?
Yeah.
Like, before they die. This is our Mecca. Like, if you don't go to Evo before you die, like, forget about it. Like,
yeah, you ain't going to heaven or wherever, man.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Evo is like the place to be, everybody. So if you're listening to this right now, if you're having second thoughts about whether or not you should go to Evo, well, I mean, now I guess it might be too late already because you haven't registered yet, and it's sold out. So that sucks to be you. But hey, if you guys in the future, like, if you're thinking about going to Evo, you have to go to Evo. It's amazing. It's just absolutely, like, words cannot define how cool it is. So, and that's coming up in less than a month, man. That's coming up real quick.
Yeah, and also, hopefully, man, I hope you take a lot of pool matches, dude, while you're there, because I know there's going to be some crazy people coming out the woodwork, and
yes,
a lot of personal matches and stuff like that.
Dude, I have been grinding every single day. Like, I've been just down here trying to come up with as much technology as I can, just like tightening up everything that is loose in my gameplay. I mean, I totally got blown up at UFGT, so I mean, that was because really of my own lack of discipline, I guess.
Well, I don't know, man. I think maybe we should have like prepared a little bit better, man. Like, I don't know, like what I don't even remember what I was doing the night before, dude. And plus, like, we didn't even like wake up that freaking well, man. Like,
Yeah.
we should have got some casuals in the morning, man. And because like when we started playing, that was the first time I played for the day. Like, usually when I play in a tournament or whatever, the hours before I'm usually warming up and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think maybe we just didn't prepare that well for pools, and we should have had that kind of session we had in Romance's room, maybe to a smaller degree that Friday night.
That's a good point, and I'll definitely try to remember that and get at least maybe half an hour or an hour of games in before my pools start at CEO. I'll actually be staying with one of the Florida players we met out there at UFGT. His name's Zoe. Shout out to Zoe.
Yeah, that dude, man, he's mad cool, man. He's a good player as well. I was talking to him on Facebook, dude, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I don't think that I'm that good." And look what happened. Didn't he get like top 16 or something?
He got top 16, man. He is quite good.
yeah, he's really good. I forgot who he trains with, man, but I know it's some pretty strong players down there.
Yeah, I think he trains with Master CJ.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, he's a good player, man. Props to him. I hope he does well in CEO. But,
yeah, and props to him for like housing me in Romance. Like, I'm super stoked about that, man. I could save a little bit of money on the hotel.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be dope. I'm really looking forward to it. All you Florida guys, I'll see you out there. I hope a lot of the other Southern guys are there too, like the North Carolina guys. I've heard a lot of good things about you. And yeah, I look forward to meeting everyone, man. Majors are the place to be. But yeah, so let's see. I guess we went over just about everything here. Desmond, you got anything else you want to talk about?
Not really, man. I think we just hit, the nail on the coffin, dude. I think that's almost about it. Yeah, props to everybody's listening, stuff like that. Check out the latest tournaments. See you guys in the stream, Stream Monsters, the chat or whatever if you're staying home.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing I do want to add. For those guys who might have heard me earlier, basically, we are planning on having both Mr. KOF and Arcade Shock Reynolds on this podcast sometime in the very near future. So keep an eye out for that. And tell you what, we'll probably post a thread in the forum. So if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, either Mr. KOF or Reynolds, we'll make sure to ask those questions to them when they are on the show. So yeah, definitely make sure to check that out.
Yeah, and take full advantage of those questions. Any kind of gameplay related questions or whatever. If you want to want to know how they become so good, on a mental level, go ahead and go and ask, maybe it can help you out as well,
Yeah, man. I mean, they're going to be here, and they're obviously some of the best players in the world. So definitely take advantage of that. And yeah, I guess that about does it for this episode of Drive Cancel Radio. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. My name is David Kong.
And I'm Desmond Delaghetto. We'll see you next time.
Peace.